Have you ever reached out to pet your dog and felt them lean away, just a little? A head that turns, a small shift of weight, and then they settle anyway and let you because they love you. You probably read it as nothing at all. Here's the thing, it was never nothing. The truth is gentler than it sounds. Most of us pet our dogs in the spots and in the ways that we find affectionate. And a lot of what we do, our dogs quietly tolerate rather than enjoy. That isn't a failure on your part. It's a translation gap. In one study of dogs being touched on different parts of the body, researchers found there are clear places a dog welcomes your hand and clear places most of them pull away from. So we'll walk the whole map. The spots to ease off of and the spots they lean into. And there's one 3-second test, number 6, that lets your dog answer you out loud every single time. Let's start with the most universal sign of love we give a dog, the pat on the top of the head. It's the first thing a child learns to do. It's what your hand reaches for without thinking 100 times a day. And it's the one so many dogs quietly duck. Here's what's actually happening. In 2014, Franziska Kuhne and her colleagues watched dogs being touched on different parts of the body and carefully measured how they responded. Contact over the top, the head, the back, the high points of the body, drew more turning away and more of the small conflict signals than contact lower and to the side. And it makes sense if you drop down to their level for a second. A hand coming down onto the skull, from a dog's point of view, is a large shape arriving over the eyes. From above, from the blind spot where they can't quite track it. Their whole body reads it before their mind does. A small flicker of bracing, there and gone in half a second. So watch them, really watch them the next time. Your palm comes down toward the crown of their head, and just before it lands, the ears flatten, a hair. The eyes give one slow blink. The chin dips, a fraction. Then they hold perfectly still and let your hand rest there. Because the bond is so much bigger than the discomfort. You think they're soaking it up. Look again at that blink. They are not enjoying it. They are forgiving it. Now, the pause. We reach for them like they're little hands to hold. We cradle them. We squeeze the toes. We tell them how impossibly soft they are. And for most dogs, the feet are the single least welcome place on the entire body. In that same body region work, contact on the paws and the lower legs pulled some of the strongest withdrawal responses of any area the researchers tested. And there's a plain, almost ancient reason underneath it. A paw is an extremity, the part of a dog that is hardest to protect and slowest to pull back when something goes wrong. For an animal whose whole safety depends on being able to run, a held foot is a held exit. Tolerating a hand there is something a dog learns, slowly, over years of trust. It is almost never a natural comfort. Notice how even a dog who adores you will still, gently, reclaim a foot the second your grip loosens. That isn't rejection. It's just an old piece of wiring, older than your living room, older than the breed, that says, keep the feet free. So picture it. You scoop a paw into your palm, completely charmed by it, and you feel the leg go faintly stiff, a slow, quiet pull backward, and maybe a quick lick across your wrist. Here's what most people miss. That lick is not a kiss. It's a small, polite request. The most patient way your dog has of saying, I would really rather you didn't. A paw your dog offers you, climbing into your lap, pressing it onto your arm. That is a gift, freely given. A paw you reach down and take is a negotiation, and most dogs are only ever agreeing to keep the peace. This next one is the hardest to hear because it's the warmest thing we do, the hug. When a human wraps both arms around someone, it's the deepest comfort we know how to give. But here's what most people don't realize. The hug is a primate gesture. It belongs to us. A dog never evolved to read a pair of arms closing around their body as love. To a dog, being held in place is something else entirely. In the Handlin research, holding a dog still or wrapping the body up shows up right alongside grabbing the collar, as contact that raises tension and brings on the kind of stillness that isn't peace at all. We go quiet in a hug because we are melting into it. A dog can go quiet in a hug because all at once there is no way out. So think about that long hug at the end of a hard day. You pull them into your chest, your chin comes down onto the back of their neck, and they go very, very still. The eyes widen just slightly. And if you could see their face in that moment, you might catch a thin sliver of white at the corner of the eye, turned toward the door. You feel love pouring out of you, and that love is completely real, but they feel held in place. Here's the gentle truth. The stillness you've always read as them melting into you. It is very often the stillness of a dog waiting for it to be over. And if you've hugged your dog their whole life, stay with me. Because there is a way to give them that exact same closeness in a language they actually feel. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more dog lovers who actually want to understand what their dog is really saying. Here's something that changes everything, and it has nothing to do with where you touch. It's the line your hand travels to get there. Across these handling studies, one pattern keeps surfacing. A hand that comes in from above the head reads to a dog as a looming shape, something descending on them. The very same fingers, arriving low from the side, drifting in along the chest, draw far less of that pulling back. The approach is half the message. Honestly, it may be more than half. And you have seen this play out, even if you never had words for it. A stranger crouches down to say hello and reaches one hand straight out over your dog's eyes to pat the head. And your dog leans back into your legs. Now picture the same person, the same dog. But this time the hand stays low, open, palm up, drifting in near the chest, and your dog steps forward into it. Nothing about the person changed, only the shape their hand cut in the air. And it isn't about size or even kindness. The gentlest hand in the world, dropping straight down from overhead, still trips the same old alarm, the one quietly watching the sky for things that fall. Come in flat and low, and that alarm never even wakes up. So here's what most people have backwards. Dogs don't flinch from the hand itself. The hand is warm. The hand brings food and leashes and good mornings. They flinch from the shadow of it, the shape it makes coming down from above. Lower your hand and you stop being a thing that looms, and you start being a thing that asks. This one quietly costs you the most, and almost no one notices they are doing it. Reaching for the collar to pull your dog in close. Taking hold of the collar sits among the contacts that most reliably raise tension in a dog. And the reason is simple, and it's worth sitting with for a moment. Grabbing the collar removes the one thing every animal keeps for itself, the option to leave. And I want to be clear about what this is and what it is not. This is handling discomfort. It's a hold that reads, to a dog, like a threat-type signal. It is not your dog challenging you. There is no contest of wills happening here, no battle for who's in charge. There is just an animal who, in that instant, can no longer walk away. And an animal who can't walk away can't fully let go either. Safety and stillness, for a dog, are wired to the same switch. So watch what happens. You hook 2 fingers under the collar, just to bring them in for a cuddle, and the head lowers. The body slows right down. That isn't consent, that's compliance. They've quietly done the math and decided the easiest way through this is to go soft and still. And here's the part that really lingers. Do that at the vet's door enough times. Collar, then needle. And the collar itself becomes a word that means trapped. Take away the exit, and affection quietly turns into arrest. Leave the exit open, and they can choose to stay. And this is the one that turns every single rule we've covered into something you will never have to memorize again. Because instead of memorizing it, you simply let your dog vote. Here's the foundation. The same line of research that flags all the difficult spots also handed us something else. A clear, readable vocabulary for please, pause. In a second study from 2014, Kuhne and her colleagues took the signals dogs give while being petted and checked them against the dog's own heart rate variability, a quiet window into the nervous system underneath the fur, and the signals held up. The head is turning away, the lick of the lip or the nose, a sudden little freeze, a slow blink. The body is leaning, just slightly, out and away from the hand. Those are not random twitches. That is a dog talking to you. Now, the consent test itself isn't a finding from a lab, it's a handler's technique. And all it really does is listen for that vocabulary. Here is exactly how it goes. You pet your dog in a spot they welcome for about 3 seconds. That's it, 3 slow seconds. Then you stop, and you take your hand all the way off them, and you wait, and you watch. If your dog presses back in, If they paw at you, swing their body closer, bump their head straight up under your palm, that is a yes. Keep going. They just asked for more. But if they stay neutral, if they shake it off, or turn to sniff the floor, or shift even 1 inch away, that is not right now. And honoring it, taking that no without a second try, is one of the most affectionate things your hand will ever do. So try it tonight. 3 seconds, slow and low, along the chest. Then lift your hand clean away and wait. And watch your dog turn and look at your still hand hanging there in the air and shove their shoulder right back up underneath it. Sit with what just happened there. You didn't guess what they wanted. You didn't hope and assume. You asked them a question, and your dog answered it. And a dog who is allowed to say no to your hand is a dog who finally, truly means it when they say yes. So after all the spots to ease away from, where do they actually want your hand? And why does the right spot do so much more than simply feel nice? Let's bring it all the way home. The places dogs tolerate best and seek out most turn out to be the sides of the chest, the base of the neck and the shoulders, and that soft spot just under the chin, away from the eyes, away from the paws, away from that looming line over the top of the head. And here is where it gets even more meaningful. Calm, welcomed stroking, the kind your dog actually invited, has been linked to a rise in oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and a drop in cortisol, the stress hormone, in both of you. Not just in the dog, in you too. The right hand, in the right place, quietly settles 2 nervous systems at the same time. And this is the part worth holding on to. The goal was never to pet your dog more. It was to pet them in the one place where the touch actually loops back, where their calm becomes your calm and yours flows back into them through nothing more than a steady hand resting on warm fur. So find the chest, slow and low, and ask. 3 seconds, then lift, then wait. And watch your dog soften in a way the pat on the head never once earned. The weight settles down into you. The breath stretches out, long and slow. The eyes go heavy. That is not a dog tolerating you anymore. That is a dog choosing you. And that's the whole thing, really. The right touch was never the one that says, "I love you." You have been saying that all along, with every clumsy pat. The right touch is simply the one your dog can finally answer. So tonight, when you reach for them, try this. Come in low, from the side, along the chest. Pet for 3 seconds, then lift your hand and let them answer you. Every small lean away you ever noticed and brushed off as nothing. The turned head, the slow blink, the paw sliding quietly out of your hand. None of it was ever your dog pulling back from your love. It was your dog telling you the truth in the only language they have. And the minutes you spend learning that language, they are not extra. They are not a chore. They are the gift itself. Because the goal was never a perfect technique. It was never about getting every spot exactly right. It was about becoming a pair of hands your dog never has to brace for. A hand that comes in slow and low and always leaves a little room for them to say yes. You were always petting them out of love. That part was never once in question. Now, you get to do it in the words they actually read.